we turn the calendar to 2021 yet? Like, really? I can't possibly see how it would be worth. Yeah, I say that, and then we still got another 4 plus 5 months, of frickin' 2020. Who knows what the hell that will do to set up the table for 2021. This has been the ultimate of S shows, hasn't it? Like, so many things have been going wrong. So many people have been done wrong. So many people dead. Like, you can go on and on and on and on. Like, I've been one of the fortunate ones. I've been able to working from home at least through the rest of the year, and we'll see how much that potentially extends into 2021. It's both cool and not so cool. You know, admittedly, you see the monitor back there? You know, still trying to adjust the man room to put an office in instead of having to sit there and work on the kitchen counter downstairs and all of that stuff. So that's why you don't see the rest of the man room being redone, because it's still being redone. So you try to adjust and make do the best that you possibly can. If I could describe 2020 in terms of just how messed up it's been and just how much it sucked in a way that impacts me and matters to me, because let's face it, that seems to be all anybody cares about in this world is me, myself, and I. The company offers the ability to order some office equipment on them. Going to be work from home the rest of the year. Might as well have a nice, decent chair that doesn't kill your back. Okay, certainly. I'll take advantage of that, and I will get myself a monitor so that way I can actually hook up and I don't just have to look at my little teensy-weensy, itsy-bitsy laptop for 16, 18 hours of work a damn day that they won't appreciate anyways. So I get the chair last week, and I'm like, that's cool. It came in a couple of days. Until you realize the company spent $200 on a chair. You notice what's missing? No back. It's right here. Why? Because apparently Staples wants to hit the damn easy button, but can't figure out how to include the appropriate fasteners in the flipping box. So I got a $200 plus damn office chair. Thankfully, first world problems, not one that I actually had to pay for. Woohoo! But it doesn't have a back to it! And now I gotta sit there and figure out where I go get the damn screws and everything in order to put the back on the damn chair so I can use it properly! Like that, to me, is 2020 in a nutshell. I've been gone for a little while. Some of you have been wondering, maybe, did he get the COVID? Is dude dead? Sorry to disappoint you on both fronts, but the answers to both of those questions at this particular moment in time are clearly, obviously, absolutely not. Otherwise, this is one epic troll from beyond the grave. And for another burning question that I'm sure is there for so many of you, you're looking right now and you're saying, oh, look at that, it looks like he's got no hair. The dumb SOB finally lost it. Nope. 39, going on 40 in March. It's creeping a little bit. I'll grant you that. But by God, the reason I don't have that much hair on my head is still because I choose to. How many of you at 39 wish you had that choice? Hell, how many of you at 29 wish you had that choice? Hell, some of you damn well good to know watching this video at 19, staring down the barrel of what's coming in 3 or 4 years. It's going to fall from here, go on your chest and your back, and you're like Tarzan the ball ass. You're going to wish you had this. So it's not so bad. Again, it's first world problems. And prayers up, not like they usually work, but if you pray to the right source on everything that is the Hunter, the Hearst, and the Helmsley, it just might work. You just might keep it. But you know, one of these big things that we're talking about with 2020 is sports. You know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and we realize just how much we take things for granted, how much we might miss something that is such an integral part of our everyday normal lives. And we haven't had sports for months. And I don't know about you, but I've certainly noticed. Well, we went through that dry spell, kind of went through the Sahara of suck of the spring into the summer for a few months here. Thanks, COVID. But now they're coming back. Baseball's back. Basketball's doing their bubble boy crap. They're back. Football, training camp's underway. Hockey's back. Golf's back. Some of you probably don't care, but I do. But nonetheless, sports are back. So it feels like, after devoting all this time the past couple of months to a company, giving them 80, 90, sometimes close to 100 hours a week, and yes, legitimately that many, to where they ultimately don't recognize it, telling you, you're like, you know what? Back at you. Screw you. Can't even send me an office chair with a freaking back that I can put on it because it doesn't have the screws in the damn box. If sports are back, then so am I. And by God, do I need it. And admittedly, a lot of you need it. And I'm not necessarily just talking about sports. You miss this handsome face. You miss this punchable face. Whatever perspective you might look at it from. It could be a combination of both. He's so handsome, I want to hit him. Hey, whatever works for you. But sports are back. And that means I'm back. But I gotta admit, this is all just so weird. Maybe part of it is due to advancing in the years a little bit, and as you get older, you find yourself tending to be a little bit more of a creature of habit, a little bit more about, getting into a routine and kind of sticking to it and being a little less open to change and less flexible to change. I think that's somewhat natural. But maybe that's part of it, is that I'm used to the way the year kind of progresses, is that in January, it's about the NFL playoffs. You go into February, it's the Super Bowl. Then once the Super Bowl is over, you start to focus on the NBA regular season, like that's when you actually maybe start to kind of give a crap until you get to the scouting combine. Then it's draft season gets you by. And then you get to April. The NHL playoffs start. The NBA playoffs start. The NFL draft is coming around the corner. And it's opening day. So you pretend to give a crap about baseball for 2 days until 3 months later at the trade deadline. And then you go through May and June. You got the playoffs and NHL. Playoffs in the NBA. And once June's over, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, then you get to July, you get to the really dog days of summer, where baseball is really the only show in town, and everything comes to a screeching halt for a couple of days around the All-Star game. Oh my God, you wish you just had that grinding, screeching halt in 2020, huh? But you start to think about it now as you get into the end of July and into August, you start thinking about training camp, you just had the NBA draft, and all that crap didn't happen this year. So, there's a big part of me that my whole schedule's just thrown off. It's the first weekend in August. But we're talking about the NBA still going on, and the playoffs haven't even started. The NHL! Instead of talking about what just happened at the trade deadline with Major League Baseball, we're talking about whether teams can avoid COVID freaking outbreaks at the beginning of their regular game, 60-game regular season. It's just all weird. And as much as I thought I was going to be chomping at the bit, as much as I thought that I was just going to be eagerly, anxiously anticipating and awaiting the return of sports, I just find myself not nearly as excited or invested in them as I thought I was going to be. And I think some of that is just due to my sports clock is just thrown way the hell off. And I think there's a big part of it too. It's just like with everything else in 2020, it's been dominated by so many things, specifically COVID, that it's just there. And no matter how much you try to, you just can't avoid it. It is the monster that just won't go away. And no matter how much you might want to sit there and get excited and skull fuck the rest of 2020, it's just you just can't escape the inevitability. It's everywhere. And now you see what's going on with Major League Baseball. They didn't do the bubble thing. It's having some disastrous results. The NBA did the bubble thing. So far, so good. But what happens if you get another month or two down the road and somebody decides they want to go out to the strip club for some wings, and then they come back with COVID and half their team's infected, and it's the frickin' Clippers, or it's the frickin' Lakers, or it's the Bucks, or it's a team that actually frickin' matters in the grand scheme of things? Like, how are we supposed to get excited about that? And then you think about the challenges, especially that MLB's had. Now you take football. You talk about the NFL, college football, NFL, whatever you want to talk about. In a game like Major League Baseball that is more friendly to certain social distance standards and guidelines, they've had significant troubles because they didn't do the bubble thing. Now the NFL, of course, is not going to do the bubble thing, and you're talking about a sport where there's close physical contact on every single freaking play. How do we anticipate this is going to be anything than a monstrous disaster? Like, I can't imagine I'm the only one that's sitting there thinking right now, like, how long does this season actually go? Like, does any of it really matter? Like, as a Bears fan, I want to do my normal shtick, and I want to piss and bitch about Ryan Pace. I want to piss and bitch about the Trubisky and Foles quarterback saga. Believe me, if that's your saga, it's in the dumper. It's a straight to DVD. It's not even straight to Blu-ray. It's a straight to DVD crap fest. That's what that is. But it's like, why even bother? What are the chances you actually get most or all of a season at this point? And maybe by some stroke of luck we do. Even if we do, imagine watching football games. Now you talk about baseball, and you even see it with baseball. They're in these stadiums that you're used to some fans, and even in some stadiums, the fans actually give a crap on a consistent basis. Not all, but some. It's just so weird to just hear the sounds of the ballpark in terms of the game being played and none of the other white noise, none of the other chatter, none of the other cheers, jeers, none of the other chants, nothing. How's that going to work with football? I mean, imagine thinking about watching the Stanley Cup or the NBA Finals or the World Series with no fans. It's just like wrestling. It already sucks anyways because the nerds have infiltrated it. But what really makes it bad is it is a product that is designed to get fan involvement. And if you don't have live fan involvement, no matter how hard you work, it is ultimately going to impact the product in some type of significant way. And it's certainly the same way when you're talking about these major North American professional sports. It sucks. Like, how are you supposed to get hyped and excited? Like, that's part of the experience that you can soak in when you're at home. You get none of that. Imagine watching the Super Bowl in February and you have no fans in the stands. How crappy would that be? And that's even if you get to that point. It's just like, for me, man, it's just really hard to get into it. My clock is off. The lack of fans just... Like, I'm watching the NBA, and it just feels like the freaking summer league. And this is the critical part of the season to get everybody seated to get ready to go for the playoffs. And then you see what's happening in MLB, and you'll worry about what's going to happen with the NFL. How much of an NFL season are we going to even have? Like, I really thought that I was just going to be chomping at the bit and be so freaking excited once sports started back up. But of course, with this being 2020, couldn't even get that. Because it's just that lingering COVID cloud of stench all over this that's doing its best to ruin it for me. And so far, at least a little bit, it seems to be succeeding. But if nothing else, rest assured, folks, we're going to fight through it. We'll get through it. We'll be bigger, better, and stronger for it. And I'll still be here, whether you like it or not.